Welcome back, Gems, to another wonderful episode of the Grateful Gem podcast. I am your host, Jasmine Shannelle, and today's topic is going to be about enduring your run. Stick around because gems are definitely about to be dropped, so get ready. I need everyone listening to this podcast episode to follow us on Instagram at the Grateful Gem Pod and also follow me at Jasmine Shannelle. Don't worry, I spelled everything out and left it in the notes below. Take a look. See you there. Now let's get into this episode. Welcome back, Gems. We are on another episode and I'm so excited. But aren't I always excited? No, serious though. I am really, really excited. I just want to say thank you so much for tuning in because you could have been doing so many more things, but you decided to tune into this episode today. So for that, I want to say thank you. I hope that you are well. I hope that you're doing well. I hope that your family is well. I hope all is well in these times of uncertainty. And I really think that is the mantra that we're living by right now, that times are uncertain. And I really hope that this message or this episode today will inspire you, that it will enlighten you. I feel like this wasn't just for me, it's also for you. It may not hit everybody. I'm just going to put that out there. It won't hit everybody, but the people that it's supposed to hit will understand what it is I'm saying. They will understand what it is I'm communicating. So let's get into it. So I just want to talk about something that happened, some things, honestly, that happened over the last 72 hours of my life. They were really, really, really great experiences. And I just really would like to touch base on what was said, what was done, and what I got from it. So I don't want to rush this information. I don't want to leave out any information, but I don't want to be too long either. So if I feel like it's getting to a point where it's too long, I will make a part 2 and you will get everything that you need to get. So sit back, be cool. It's okay. So as you guys know, this topic today is going to be called Enduring Your Run. So I think that was a great way to start off this episode because of the first experience that I had. So the other day, I go running to the bridges and walking after I get off from work. So I went last Thursday and the strangest thing happened to me. I really didn't know what it was because I had never had that happen, but I was just so flustered that I couldn't really make sense of everything that was going on. So when I got to the bridges, mind you, I've been working all day. I felt fine. No, it wasn't Thursday because Thursday I got off early because my chest was tight. But Wednesday, so it was either Wednesday or Friday. Don't quote me. I don't remember. One of those 2 days. I believe it was Friday. I don't know. I think it was Friday. Okay, anyways. So yeah, it was Friday. So Friday, I went to the bridge, normal like I do, got my water, got my inhaler, got in the car, went to the bridges. So you guys know I have asthma. If you don't, you now know I have asthma. So I get to the bridges and by the time I even get up to the incline, I'm literally panting for air. And I'm just like, what's going on? I've never experienced this so quickly. Normally the incline on the Acosta, it takes my beats with my heart up really, really fast. So I have to control my breathing. And normally I don't really have to do that because my body is so used to me going every day. So I couldn't really understand what was going on. So I'm walking up the bridge and I'm just like, I don't think I'm gonna make it. I really don't know what's going on. So I steady going because I'm like, I did not come all the way out here to be turned around. I'm not gonna give up. So I'm steady walking. I'm like, I just need to control my breathing. So I'm breathing in my mouth, breathing out my nose, breathing in my nose, breathing out my mouth, doing that routine and trying to get my asthma, or not my asthma, but my breathing back under control. So I get to the top and I literally have to stop because I could not breathe. I was gasping for air. And for some reason, my lungs, the hole for me to breathe, my throat was dry. So it was closed. And so it was really, really hard for me to breathe. And I was just like, wow, what is going on? So I stood at the top and I just looked over the water and I heard something just say, be calm, be still. So I was like, okay. So I'm standing there and I'm just looking at the water and I'm breathing, trying to control my breathing. So as I stopped, I realized that, my breathing calmed down. So I'm like, okay, cool. So I continue to walk, and as soon as I start stepping again, it starts again. I'm like, this is crazy. Like, I've never experienced this. Like, of course, when I get up there, sometimes my asthma is a little out of whack because that incline is so high. But this day, that incline literally overtook me. I don't know what I didn't know what was going on at the time. So I'm like, what is this? Like, what? Like, I cannot make this make sense. So I'm walking down and I'm like, okay, Jasmine, just keep pushing it. The faster you get across this bridge, the faster you will be able to get to the ground, and it's fine. So I stop again because, again, I couldn't breathe. And it wasn't getting better. It was getting worse. Normally, by the time I go down, I can control my breathing and I'm back. Like, I had no control over any of this that was going on. So in my mind, I'm freaking out. In my head, I'm like, I'm finna die. Like, I done did this. I'm just finna die. So I'm walking down and I was like, you know what? At this point, it's time for me to go back because I can't control my breathing. I can't get this under control at any point. So I'm walking back and I literally have to stop like 2 or 3 more times before walking back up because I was just overthrown. Like, I really couldn't make it. And I was so confused because I'm like, what's going on? Like, I don't understand what I'm experiencing right now. So I get to the car and I'm just like, okay, if I get to the car, control my breathing, take my inhaler, I'll be fine. I can just walk on land. I got to the car and literally I was just like, no, this is terrible. Like, my inhaler's not working. I need to go home and take a treatment. So I get on the phone and I'm talking to my best friend and I'm telling him about, how I've been feeling, as I'm on my way home, because I low-key was just like freaking out, but I just wanted to be able to not think about it. So I called him and we were just talking. And so we came across the topic and I was telling him that, I felt like I was in a period of isolation, but it didn't really seem like isolation. Like, I'm isolated, but not isolated. And I was telling him that, I scaled back from a lot of things that I used to do. I scaled back from a lot of things, a lot of people, a lot of environments, taking a step back from everything, just trying to make sure that I'm looking at the same view that was previously in front of me, because I've been in a point, and I know you guys can hold me to this with the last episode that I had. If you haven't heard that episode, of course, I'm going to tell you to go back and listen to that one before you play on this one. However, both of these have powerful information that you will need to get through the season if you're going through the season as well. So, I've been telling you guys that I felt burnt out. I'm just exhausted. I'm doing a lot and God is doing a lot, and I'm just trying to make sure I hear him correctly and trying to just make sure everything is together. It's just draining. So for me, when I went out to the bridges, I just couldn't, I knew I was tired, but as I told you guys earlier, no matter what, I made it my business to get up and go to the bridges. So I just realized that it was just like, what overtook me so much that I could not endure that run? What was it that I let get a hold of me that I wasn't able to endure that run? And so I was sitting there and I'm like, okay, maybe it's just a season where I just need to sit still. And again, I'm talking to my best friend about it and I'm explaining to him, how I feel and telling him about certain stuff and why I feel this way. And again, I'm telling him all this and I'm making sure that he knows that I don't feel like it's a point of isolation, because I'm still around people. I'm still talking to people. I'm still communicating and going out and stuff like that. Like, I'm still interacting with people. So I don't consider it a sense of isolation. I just don't know honestly what it is. So fast forward, I am sitting at home thinking, like, what am I gonna talk about this week? Like, what am I gonna say? I'm so burnt out. I can't even really get a proper message. And you guys know how I do. If I don't have a good message or something that I was led to share, then I don't post. And that's why this is delayed. This is why this is coming out a day later, because I don't want to put out anything that wasn't led or something that was put on my heart to be put out. So just bear with me. I have good intentions, I promise. But so that was the first thing that happened to me. And I still couldn't get over that, because I'm like, I've been doing this since February. Yeah, I've been back working and running the gym. I'm talking about the gym. I've been walking and running the bridges since February. And I've been going faithfully every month for 6 days a week. And I couldn't believe that it overtook me like that. And in my mind, I'm just like, wow, this is just a sign that I'm really burnt out. Like, I'm just really burnt out today, that I really allowed myself to just give up. And as I was walking back to the car, I felt so disappointed in myself, because I'm like, Jasmine, what's going on with you? Literally, I had to have that conversation with myself. And I'm like, what is going on with you? Like, you never come out here and have to go back to the car. Like, you guys, I was not even gone for, I wasn't even like, I think I did like 30 minutes, but that was because I couldn't get across the bridge. And I was just like, what's going on? So anyways, I come home, just like whatever. My sister was like, yeah, I realized, are you okay? And I was telling her, I can't breathe, I'm going to take a treatment. And she was like, yeah, I noticed that you came back a little early. And I was telling her what happened. I'm like, I was just winded. Like, I could not get across the bridge. Like, this never happens to me. This never happens. And I knew that a couple days before, I had issues going across, but I got across without any problems. And then the next day after that, I took a different route. I didn't go across the Acosta because I didn't want to risk that. But like I said, any other time, I'm fine. Like, I have no problem getting across it. So I'm like, what's going on? What's really going on? Like, what's the root of the issue here? So, I let it go. I'm like, okay, whatever. It's just my asthma, severe asthma. Whoop-de-doo. Like, we've dealt with this. We got this. So, a couple days go by. And there's this thing that I do. I go on YouTube and I look for, like, new videos that's uploaded or that's recommended for me to play. And if I like it, if I have time, I watch it then. If not, I save it for later. So, I save it to my watch later pile. So there's this video that I had been meaning to watch. I saved it maybe like a couple days ago, like sometime last week, but I hadn't played it. And so I saw that video and I saw another video and I was like, oh, okay, let me go ahead and save this one too. And I'll go ahead and listen to them. So you guys, I pressed play on this video, and it was a video, and I've also linked those two videos down in the description in the show notes below as well, so you can check it out, because I really think that if you're going through a period of semi-isolation or something similar to what you feel is isolation, I really think this will help you, because it really, really, I was literally in here like shaking up. Like, I was like, God, this is so good. So I was sitting here and I was like, okay, so I'm watching TV. I have my TV on mute. And I'm listening to the sermons by Sarah Jakes, of course. And one of them was called Just Enough Faith. And I was listening to that. I'm like, man, this is really good. And that takes me back to the last episode that I did, Have One More Experience. In that episode, I talked about being able to just have another experience, not being able to give up. Because what if you're one step closer to that breakthrough? What if you're one prayer closer to that manifestation that God has for you? What if you're just that so close? Like, what if you're like a lick away from what it is that you're praying for, and you decided to give up, and then the very thing that you were waiting for just drops out of your hand? Basically, to sum up that last episode, if you haven't heard it again, go back and listen to it. It was really good, because God gave me that word while I was on the bridges, and I explained that to you guys there too. So that's why I think this is so iconic, that I had that session where I couldn't get cross, and it was literally in the same spot where he gave me that Have One More Experience acronym. And I was just like, oh my God, like, I cannot make this stuff up. So I'm standing there just trying to figure everything out, and he puts that on my heart, and I'm just like, wow, this is so good. Like, girl, you reading my mind. Like, I literally was just talking about this last week, and I was like, this is awesome. So she was talking about, how we go through seasons and we may feel like, it's time to give up, and it's not time to give up. And again, I'll link those videos down, so if you have a chance, check those out. And then the second one, I don't remember what it was called. Oh, I do. It was Overnight Success. So Overnight Success and Just Enough Faith were the two videos that I watched by her. So Overnight Success was talking about how, people or celebrities talk about how, a lot of people say that they got success overnight, and I thought that was really good. It talked about getting on your post and being able to do what it is that God has put you on this earth to do. And that this isn't a time to pull back, but it's a time for God to excel you. It kind of just went hand in hand with the other episode, but the one that really hit home for me was the just a little faith, or a little more faith, or whatever I said. That one really hit home for me, because she was talking and I was just like, this is crazy. And she was like, you may feel like you're in a period of isolation, but this is not a period of isolation. This is a period of enduring. God wants you to endure. And I was like, what? I was like, oh my God, like these are literally the words that I said to my best friend. Like, I kept telling him, like, listen, dude, because I never, like, when I'm in a point where I'm explaining myself casually and over, it's because I want you to really understand what it is I'm saying. And I feel like you're not understanding. So if I keep going into detail and I keep rewording it or keep saying it a different way, I want you to understand. Okay, I'm not saying that I'm in a period of isolation. What I'm saying is I'm in a period where I feel like I'm in isolation, but it's not isolation. But you're not understanding. So, I'm just reiterating that to him. And when she said that, it took me away, because I'm like, God, like, you really speaking to me. Because for the longest, you guys, I felt like God was not answering me. I feel like I've been praying and God has not revealed things to me. I feel like he is not listening to me. I feel like there's a lot of things that took place in my life that was self-imposed. And again, I just feel like I'm not in a period of isolation, but I'm making sure that I'm hearing what it is that he's telling me correctly, because I feel like everything that he's told me, or everything that I thought I knew, right now seems like I didn't know that information. So I haven't really been doing what I'm supposed to be doing. Like, I'm still doing, what he put on my heart to do. I'm still preparing all these stuff, but when it comes to having a different outlook on where it is I am in life, I put that on pause, because I'm like, I don't even know what's going on. I can't tell you what God is saying to me. I don't know if God's talking to me. Like, I just cannot help but understand, like, where I am. Like, I can't help but not understand. I can only tell you what I feel, but I can't tell you why I feel this way. Or I don't even know the correct term of how I feel. But again, I knew it wasn't isolation, because I'm still around people. I'm still interacting. I'm still here. So it's like, I'm not isolating myself, because I'm not stuck in my room all day. I'm not isolating myself from the world, but I feel like mentally, spiritually, I'm isolated. That God is doing something different and it's new to me. So it kind of freaked me out, and I'm just like, I don't know what else to do. I'm praying. I don't feel like he's not answering me. And I just wanted to come on here and tell you guys that if you're in a season where you're praying and you're asking God for something, or you're asking God to do something, I believe that he hears you. And in the moments where it feels like he's not answering your prayers, he's doing just that. So it's never a matter of God doesn't like me, God doesn't hear me, God doesn't love me, because he loves you, he hears you, he's answering you. But in the midst of that, he wants you to continue to seek him. I feel like it's almost like a test, but not a test, It's almost a period of isolation, but not isolation, So I feel like, you have to be on guard. Don't ever get yourself so down to where you can't decipher what's going on, because that in the midst of a storm that comes joy, comes sunshine. So if you feel like you're in a storm right now, or if you're in a desert and you can't hear God, continue to keep praying, keep searching for him, keep looking for him. You'll find him in ways that you never would imagine. Like I said, when he gave me that acronym HOME, I wasn't expecting that. When I walked across that bridge and I got back to the car, and the next day I was listening to this, and Sarah was talking about enduring your run and enduring your lane and enduring what it is that God's telling you to do, because you have to be set apart. You can't be the person that you used to be, and the things that you're trying to go for, God is pulling you back to. You can't look at an obstacle the way that you used to look at it. So I was like, man, this is crazy. Like, this is literally happening. Like, of course, I have encounters and interactions with God all the time, but the fact that it was just so on point to where I hadn't said anything. Like, nobody really knows how I've been feeling about this, because I feel like even if I explain it, they don't really understand. And I feel like for this person that I've never met in my life to be able to log into YouTube, play a video, and have someone tell me my whole life story within the last month, because it's honestly how I've been feeling. I've been telling you guys, I'm burnt out, I'm just exhausted, I've isolated some kind of way. But to have that confirmation lets me know that there's no one that could do that but God. and I feel like it comes at the right time. Like, God's timing is perfect. Our timing is not his timing. So we're busy in a rush. We have to be able to commit to staying committed to what it is that he's telling us to endure. And I thought that was so good, because she kept saying, like, you have to endure this run. You have to endure this season, because if you pull out, you are not going to be one step closer. Like, it was, you guys, you have to listen to the video. Like, I seriously recommend listening to it, because it literally was a breath of fresh air. Like, when I tell you, I was like, oh my God, this lady is talking to me. Like, this lady is literally sitting in front of me talking to me. And I was just like, wow, okay. So then, after that, I get on watching that. I'm watching the next video, and I'm like, wow, like, this is so crazy. Like, she's talking about stuff that I've prayed about, and it's just like, I feel like this stuff is never going to happen. I feel like I'm praying for nothing. And, we're believers. We can be real with each other, right? Guys, I like to keep it real with you guys. So that's really where I'm at. I feel like I've prayed for these things. They're not going to come to pass. God's not answering me. He wants me to do all this stuff, but he ain't listening to me. I'm just doing all this stuff for my health. Like, that's literally where I'm at right now. And I know that that's not true, because of course I'm a believer. God has been here for me time and time again. So for me to sit here and say that I 100% believe that is a lie. I don't believe that at all, but that's how it looks, because we walk by sight and not by faith. When we should in reverse walk by faith and not sight. But being human and being the imperfected person that I am, I look at it inverted, and I realize that, she honestly said things that I had never voiced out loud. I didn't even know how to describe how I felt. I just knew that I didn't feel the same. And I felt my doubt overcoming my fear. But I still prayed, I still had hope in the inside, even though it didn't look like things would turn around. It didn't look like what God showed me. It didn't look what God said, but I know what he said. I know what he called me to do. So I challenge anybody that's going through a identity crisis or a clarity crisis, or you needed someone to confirm what it is that God is doing. You go to God. Let him confirm that in you. If you feel like you're at a point where you're praying for all these things and nothing is happening, let me tell you, something is happening. It may not make sense right now, but it will make sense later. And I really feel like that is super important. You have to believe that. You have to know that God is here. He's listening. He sees all. He hears all. He does all. So anything that we're going through is to better us, not to harm us. And I literally had to tell myself that as I watched that video, because I'm like, Jasmine, like, you sit here and you doubt God. You're sitting here, you're praying, you're being thankful, but you're not praying fervently like you normally do. And I think I mentioned that in previous episodes as well. My stuff was more like a routine instead of being genuine. And it's like, you have to take the religion out of religion and make it a relationship. Because at the end of the day, God doesn't want you just to show up. He wants you when you show up. So who are you going to be? And God has called you to endure your lane and your run, because he knows that you're more than capable. And don't ever let people disqualify you for what God has already qualified you. So, yeah. So that was that experience. I was just like, wow, this is so good. So then it gets better. So I'm sitting here, and now there's this movie. I don't know if you guys ever watched it or seen it, but I'll link the name of that movie in the show notes as well. It's a movie called Overcomer with Priscilla Shirer. Let me tell y'all, I love Priscilla. She gets me right every time. Every message I listen to, I just love her. The movie War Room that she was in, I love that movie. I even bought the book Fervent. I really recommend that book. I've recommended it plenty of times in other episodes. That helped me get through a lot of things that I was going through. Fervent is a very good book. It teaches you how to pray fervently, how to pray with enthusiasm, how to pray correctly. So I really encourage anyone that needs help in that area to look into that. So, yeah, the movie Overcomer. So this movie was about it was about so much. So basically, overall, it was about a girl who... Are you loving this episode? Great. Don't forget to leave your feedback by rating and leaving a review on Apple iTunes. Also, don't forget to subscribe anywhere, wherever you're listening to this podcast. And make sure that you follow us on Instagram to keep up in the know of what's going on with the podcast. Okay, let's get back to the episode. who had lost her parents initially. So she was told that she lost her parents. Her mom and dad died of drug abuse. She was raised by her grandmother. Her mom's friend puts her through to this good school in the neighborhood. She ends up getting on basically like a track team. Like she was on a tryout for a track team. She has asthma. And she was the only one on the team. And the coach and his wife, the wife was her school teacher, and the husband, of course, was her coach. So he ended up going to the hospital one day to pray for someone with his pastor, and stumbled across this guy that he didn't even know he was going to be at the hospital. He ended up building a relationship with him to later come out and find out that this guy was this girl's father. And they reunited, and it was just a good story. You guys got to watch it. So I thought this was really awesome because, we talk about enduring, and we talk about enduring your run. So I'm sitting here watching this movie, and this girl, first of all, they had what is the name of this sport? CrossFit or cross something? It's something like track. So they have to run 3 miles. Mind you, I told you this girl has asthma, and her asthma can't be as bad as mine. Like, she took her inhaler when she was running, but I'm like, either she really don't got asthma or her asthma is just like moderate, because I know people that runs with asthma. But anyway, she had to run 3 miles, and she was the only one on the team, you guys. Like, there was no team. It was just her. And, like, the coach, his kids would come and run with her and stuff, and they cheer her on at every meet and stuff like that. But it was really good. I was just like, wow, this is so ironic, because, again, when I was at the bridges, dying of asthma, trying to endure my run, and I got endured. And, so I'm sitting here watching this movie. I'm like, this is crazy. Like, what is the odds? Like, when I first saw her, and when I saw, like, in the beginning, she, like, stole something from these dudes, and she ended up running away, and she was taking her inhaler, and I was like, this is finna be good. Mind you, I had been meaning to watch this movie. Like, I actually just got it on Redbox, and I didn't even watch it when I got it on Redbox. I ended up taking it back because I saw it was on Hulu. Was it on? No, it was on Stars. I have Stars. So it was on Stars. So I was like, oh, I could take this back, get my money back, or not get my money, but stop paying money, because I hadn't watched it when I got it out of the Redbox. But I saw it on Stars. So I was like, oh. And ironically, I was supposed to do this like last week. I didn't. So after I watched this video, it dawned on me, something was like, you should watch that movie. So I was like, okay. So I played it. Mind you, I've been trying to see this movie since it came out in the theaters, but I just hadn't got around to it. Then all this other stuff happened. So I just happened to have the time to watch it that day. So yeah, I'm watching it, and I'm like, this is so good. Like, this is so good. Like, this girl, she's like giving her life back to Christ. She's trying to figure out, why her grandma lied to her and all of these things. And I'm like, man, this is so good. And it was basically, just so touching. Like, and it reminded me of how God works. Like, God is a strategic father. Like, he plans every moment, every second of our life. So there wasn't a coincidence that this guy happened to stumble across this guy that he didn't know he was going to meet. But God knew exactly what he was doing when he crossed their paths. Not only did he let this guy meet this guy that he didn't know, but just coincidentally, y'all know I don't believe in coincidences, but just coincidentally, he is the one who connected them back to each other. Like, that to me is just crazy. Like, the profoundness of this movie was just like, oh my God. Like, it reminded me that everything works together for our good. So yeah, it's 15 years later, because the girl was like 15 or 16. Yeah, it's 15 years later, but you got reconnected with your dad through a guy that was once a stranger. Like, that is so serious. Like, God really is a crafter. Like, he takes time and strategically plans our life. Like, that was already in the making, and I thought it was great. Like, this girl running 3 miles with asthma, I could have never done that. And it just reminded me, when I was out at the bridges, I was like, wow, like, that was my time. You know what I'm saying? Like, that was my time to just take a step back, scale back, and just remind myself of what and who I am a daughter of, because God loves us and He crafts us in a place where we don't even understand, but we know that we're safe. We know that we have everything we need because He who equips us is abundant. Like that, man, if you have not seen Overcomer, you need to see it. Like, it was a really, really, really touching story. Like, I cried, you guys. I'm a crier when it comes to movies, so I cried on War Room too. But I really feel like the overall message of that movie was so awesome for me personally, because like I said, the whole encounter at the bridges, and then to hear that those YouTube videos about enduring, and then to watch a video of basically how to endure, and then like at the end of the movie she had her dad running or coaching her through the race, and he wasn't even there. He couldn't see her. He just they did like some kind of tracking to figure out by her pace where she would be at. And guys, that movie was awesome. I was just like, oh my god, this is so good. Like, it just reminded me that the period or the season that I am right now, that it's not time for me to pull back. It's not time for me to stay stagnant. It's time for me to continue to do exactly what I'm doing. Continue to seek God. Continue to confirm things that He has already confirmed. Remind myself of what it is that He's telling me that will manifest, what will come to pass in my life. And I really think that this is not only just for me, but it's for you too. So I encourage you to endure the path and the run that is ahead of you, because God placed you on that path for a reason, and the very things that you could be running from is the very thing that's going to run you to where you're supposed to be. I really was so amazed when I thought about this. I was like, God, this is so good. Like, this message to me, like I said, it really, really had me in tears, because I'm like, God, like, I've been going through a period of semi-isolation or whatever this is, enduring, and I didn't even know what it was. And it's so crazy, because when you take everything that you literally say to someone or compare it to what God says to you, I've said this all the time, you have to line up what you are saying that God is telling you with what God is actually telling you. So for me to sit there and say, I feel like I'm in a period of isolation, but it's not isolation, I don't know what it's called. And then for me to watch a video that says you've been calling it isolation, but God's calling it enduring. I was just like, what? Like, what? Look at that. Like, it was a whole bunch of other stuff that she said, and I was just like, oh my God, this is awesome. Like, this is what I needed to get through to where I'm going. Like, you have to be able to endure. And I feel like right now it's not the time for us to quit. It's not the time for us to get stressed. If you're taking on a lot, again, scale back. Do less with more. Do less with what you have. Pray for strength, pray for guidance, and continue to seek God through everything that you're going through. I know that this message was kind of all over the place, but more of the story is endure the run that you're on. God called you to this run. He's paved out the path for you, so you have what it takes to run this race. No one else can run this for you. Me with my asthma, if I can get out there every day and go to the bridges, you can get out here and show up like never before. God is waiting for you to do what it is that He placed inside of you, and this is not the time to make excuses as why you can't do that. So I really, really hope that you listen to the links that I linked down below. The videos, I'm going to link the movie title and information as well, so if you haven't seen it, you can see it. It's at Redbox. It's on the Stars app if you have that. I think it's on Hulu. I think it's on Hulu. But anyways, it's not hard to find. Stars, you can get a free 7-day subscription and watch it for free and cancel it after you're done. Yeah, but if you haven't seen that movie, definitely watch it, because it was really good. It was so touching, and I think that it means a lot more for other people, because there was definitely a lot of other things that happened in the movie, but for me, this is what I got from it. It's also about being grateful and being able to adapt, because the coach that was coaching the girl, he was a basketball coach, and something happened in their environment where and I think it's really, really, oh God, thank you. It's really convenient for where we are right now, because we have a lot of things shaking our world up where we don't know what tomorrow looks like. And that's kind of what the beginning of the tone of the movie was. They had something happen in their city where people were moving out, because I think like they were laying off and jobs were scarce there, so people were leaving they're going to other places. I want to say it was Texas. Don't quote me on that, but I want to say it was Texas. Something happened. They were losing people left and right, and he ended up losing his whole basketball team. So he ended up letting go of the basketball team to do the track team, and he didn't want to do it. And his wife was just like, "You're being ungrateful, you're pouting about this, but at least you get to coach." Like, it was a really, really, really good thing. So I feel like that's a message in itself, because you could very well be feeling like, I've just gotten to a point where I understand myself, or I have just gotten to a point where I understand where it is that God wants me to be, and now all these things are corrupting me. I got to a point where I feel like my business is going to take heights, and this coronavirus has really shot me down. My finances were just impacted in a way that I could help myself and others, and now I have to scale back on that. Like, this, literally, I'm telling you guys, there is so much in this message that could be unpacked, and everyone is going to see it different. If you watch the movie, I'm pretty sure you're going to have a different perspective and an outlook of what it was that was taken from the movie, because God deals with us differently. But let me tell you something, that he uses all of those things and he works those together for the good of us. He works everything out for our good. And I really was reminded of that, because I honestly didn't forget, but I had forgot. Like, I was in a phase where I was just like, I don't know what this is. Like, I will not let that go. I kept saying it. I don't know what this is, but I don't know what to call it. I don't know what it looks like. I don't know, but I know how I feel. It just feels like this, or it feels like that. So I had to start stepping back and doing less with what I have, because I felt overtaken. And like I said, you can quote me back on plenty of episodes where I said I feel burned out. I feel like this. But let me tell you, God doesn't move off of your feelings. He moves off of what he says. What does the Spirit say about you? So if he can revive me, he can revive you. And I just want to tell you to keep pressing through, keep enduring on your run, because I'm telling you, there is something so great on the outside of that thing, and you're this step closer to getting the breakthrough that you need. So don't give up. I really hope that this impacted you in a way that can help you. Listen to the videos, watch the movie if you can. Like I said, Stars had it. That's why I watched it on a Stars 7-day trial for free. You can cancel it after 7 days. Watch you some more movies for 7 days. Y'all at home anyway. There you go. Shameless plug. I just put y'all on. So watch the movie, watch the videos in the link, watch the messages, and hear what it is that God's telling you. What is it that he's telling you to do with this time right now? How does he want you to endure? I hope you guys continue to keep shining as the gems you are, and I will see you on the next episode. Bye.